Welcome to Beyond the Scoreboard, the podcast that takes you inside the huddle, beyond the plays, and into the minds of coaches. I'm Perry Black, and each episode will bring you exclusive interviews with coaches from all levels, sharing their stories, strategies, and lessons they've learned along the way. So pull up a seat, let's get beyond the numbers, beyond the highlights, beyond the scoreboard. Episode 7 is provided to you by Tina Lake Daycare. Reach out to Tina with any questions regarding childcare. She is the absolute best. This episode will be diving into the college baseball recruiting process. We'll be going over the 7-step process we have created that allow you to understand the recruitment game a little better. With that being said, every recruiting process is different and individualized and will be different for each person. However, having an understanding of this will hopefully give you a leg up in the process. We will be hearing from 2 special guests today, and hopefully will provide you a better understanding of what to look forward to. So let's start with step 1, develop your skills in game. Make yourself recruitable on the field, both your tools and with your physicality. Focus on the fundamentals. Please understand what the 5 tools are and what the 3 phases of pitching are. Develop each of those tools and whatever the best of your ability is. Those are very important because it gives you an understanding of what to develop, and then it also gives college coaches the ability to help you in what deficiencies you might have. You need to understand that playing at a high level is important. You need to dominate whatever level it is that you play. So from the 14U level all the way up to high school, college coaches want to understand that you can compete in whatever level that is that you're playing at. If you're in a smaller area, a smaller community, or a smaller school, please make sure that you play the best competition possible whenever possible. Whether that's getting to different showcases that we'll go over later, or finding a way to get onto a travel or a club team or organization that will allow you to play in some bigger tournaments. That doesn't mean you got to abandon your area or your community, but do try to find some different opportunities to get in front of college coaches. That is very important. Having them given access to you is something that is only going to happen through some of those bigger opportunities and bigger tournaments. Training. Off-season training is unbelievably important. That doesn't mean you can't play other sports, and quite frankly, I would recommend that you do play other sports, but off-season training is important. Pick something that you want to get better at in the off-season. If you are a hitter and you struggle contact-wise, but you do have a pretty good physical tool for hitting the ball hard and far, then let's not quite work on the power part of that as much. And maybe in the off season, it's all about contact drills and being able to get back to the ball more often, figuring out ways to be more accurate with your barrel, those type of things. And for me, when I was growing up, my dad set a goal for me that I had to take 100 ground balls every day, 65 days a year. Make sure you can field. That was his goal. When a ball's hit at you, field it. And that could be tennis balls off the wall could count. It could be having somebody hit fungos at me. 3.5, 4 buckets a day was roughly about 100 reps for me. And I really took that to heart. And so for you guys going through the recruiting process in the off season, that's when you can really develop some of those tools that you might be struggling with. Work on your baseball IQ. Watch the game. There's so much baseball on TV. There's so many opportunities on YouTube. There's so many different opportunities around where you can start watching the game a little bit. Watching the game helps you in understanding of in-game situations, can help you adjust, but can also just improve your baseball IQ, and which is one of the tools that sometimes gets left behind. The mental makeup is something that college coaches really look for. And then last, but definitely not least, and maybe the most important of step 1 here is strength and condition training. You need to be physically fit to play baseball. And it looks different. It doesn't maybe not look like a football player. It may not look like a basketball player or so on, but you need to be physically fit. And when you're looking to play in college, one of the best ways to get your eyes or to get coaches' eyes on you is to have the physicality part taken care of. I mean, strength training means being quick. That means having a baseball speed, having baseball strength. All of those things are very important. And then obviously looking the part helps too. Make sure that you have and can develop a structured program that'll meet those needs. Whatever your body structure entails. Well, I mean, we can't make you grow 5 or 6 inches or maybe get, 30, 40 pounds stronger, but you can definitely get a little stronger and you can definitely get a little faster, and all of those things are going to help. But not doing that could be the difference between receiving a scholarship and not. A beyond the scoreboard tip here, ask a coach or scout for honest feedback. on your weaknesses and work on those during the off season. And then obviously incorporate them into your daily routine. But ask scouts for feedback and some other recruiters that you might talk to is a really good thing to do. Step 2, build an online presence and a highlight reel. Market yourself. Today's day and age, recruiting is unbelievably different than what it used to be 10, 15 years ago. You need to market yourself. Create a high quality highlight video. 60, 90 seconds long. Include fielding, hitting if you're a position player, base running, arm strength, all of those good things, all those measurable things that recruiters are looking for. And then show some game footage, some skill footage, swings in the cage, swings in the game, some bullpen sessions if you're a pitcher. Make sure you include all of your pitches during that time. And then keep it simple. We don't need a bunch of music. We don't need a bunch of flashy effects, just your best plays. And also hustle plays are a very good thing to include during that time. And then one of the more important things here when it comes to marketing yourself is please understand that social media is here and it's here to stay. Use it as a recruiting tool. It's a great way. Twitter, X, Instagram, YouTube, those are all really important to getting your name out there and getting your image created. Post game clips, workout videos, updates, and achievements that you've had on those sites. Follow and engage with coaches on Twitter or X, on Instagram, YouTube. Make sure that when you do that very respectfully, politely, professionally, but engage with them. Tag them when you make posts. Get it so you cannot be seen. Make it up to them to see if they like what they see and they want to see more of it, great. But make sure that there's no way they can't see it. And be careful with what you post on social media if you are really serious about playing college baseball. Your coaches, college recruiters, showcases that people are going to be trying to invite you to do are going to look at your social media accounts. Make sure they're professional. Make sure there's nothing silly on there. It's going to be an image of you, and you want that image to be good and clean. If you do nothing else, only have accounts that you post athletic achievements on. And please, as you're doing this, make sure that your parents and family members understand that your image on social media is important and could be a deal breaker. So make sure that they are not posting things that would be inappropriate as well. Set up profiles on the recruiting platform such as Field Level for baseball. Field Level is a really, really good recruiting tool that is super easy to set up, free version and then a paid version, but both are very important to the recruiting process these days. There's coaches all over that, and it's a great way to be able to show videos, basic coaches evaluations on there. But Field Level is something that I think everybody should create an account with and start sharing and contacting and getting in contact with coaches through that way. It's just another avenue. It's another way that coaches can get on there and have player availability to them. I would also recommend that when you do make those profiles, have your coaches that you trust in your area look at them before they go live. Make sure that everything in there is evaluated correctly and you have the most updated information on there and academic achievements, athletic achievements, all of that good stuff. Have it double checked by an adult or coach that you trust. A little beyond the scoreboard tip here. Pin your highlight video to your X account and then include key stats, contact information, achievements, and some simple bio things for quick reference in your bio. Then that way, anytime somebody clicks on your profile, the important things that they need to know are right there and accessible quickly. Step 3, research and target the right schools. Be patient. There's no reason to be in a hurry at this, especially when, freshmen, sophomores, juniors. Be patient. Who it is that you're talking to and what makes that person want to be involved in your recruiting process. Sometimes there's some college coaches that out there that you're kind of doing their due diligence. They're doing a great job and they're going to contact you quite often. And there's some that won't quite be quite as go-getter there. Be patient. Don't get discouraged. Don't get upset if you're not hearing from your dream school at the moment. There's time. Allow those to happen. Allow your baseball kind of recruiting process to simmer a little bit. This doesn't need to be something that you make a quick and rash decision on. Understand the different levels of baseball and college in general. Division I, Division II, Division III, NEI, junior colleges, all different and all for different reasons. You would attend each one of those for many different reasons. Division I is going to be the highest level of baseball you're going to be able to play in college most of the time. So understand that. And Division two, Division three, NEI are all going to have different reasons for somebody to attend there. Obviously, Division two are bigger schools, bigger campuses, all that good stuff. Division three does not offer athletic scholarships, usually a little smaller campuses, and maybe that's a great fit for you. And then you have the NEI, which are very smaller schools, most of the time public universities that are in smaller communities that might be a great fit for many of you. But not everybody. And then there's junior colleges, different levels of junior college. You have some of the big JC leagues throughout the country. You have some smaller regional ones. Understand what you're looking at. Understand who's talking to you. Have some sort of research done before you start talking to coaches about those schools. But understand what the academic impact of each one of those levels is as well. And then make a school list based on a few things. First of all, you make it based on your skill level. After you've talked to your high school coaches, your travel ball coaches, some recruiting people that you trust, figure out what your ability level it is and where do you fall in those different levels. Is it a Division I player? Is it maybe a junior college player with the opportunity to transfer somewhere bigger? Maybe you just want to play at a smaller NAIA school and get a great education and still see some really good competition. Maybe Division III, Division II is the right place for you. You're not going to know until you understand your skill level. And then second, academics. Does it have what you're looking for? If you want to be, a doctor, is going to a school that you pick going to allow that to happen? Is that going to allow you to get into medical school? Those type of things are very important to look at. I would also encourage you, make sure you look, if you're going to the junior college route, the transferability of those credits that you're going to be taking. And some might not transfer state by state and all that kind of stuff. That's stuff that you're going to want to research and having guidance counselors at your high schools, and then also going in college, calling college counselors and figuring out what transfers, how does this work? So you're not wasting some of your precious time and obviously money on credits that won't be transferring to other schools. So make sure you have an understanding of how that works. And then what's the opportunity when I get there? Will I want to stay there if you're not playing baseball? Ask yourself questions like that. Can I see myself on this university if baseball is not included in it anymore? Those are very, very good questions to ask yourself. And then how do I get into those college? What are the entrance requirements? What's a GPA minimum that you need? What is my current GPA? SAT, ACT scores, additional requirements that you might need to take based on, the academic achievement of that school. Do some research on all of those and then create a list based on all of that. And another thing you could include in there while you're trying to pick schools is the geographical location. Do I want to play or do I want to attend a school, in a location I'm not used to? Is doing that going to be good for me? Is that going to be good for my mental health? Am I going to be able to see myself staying there? Weather is very important to a lot of people, and that could be a deal breaker. Maybe it doesn't sound like it right now, but when you're there and you're dealing with it on a day-to-day basis, it could be. Also, another thing that could be a problem is, are your family members going to be able to attend games? Is it so far away where that isn't possible, is not doable? Take all those into consideration and then make a list of 8 to 20 schools and start kind of narrowing down your search as you get a little bit older. But it's very important that you do create a list. And then research rosters as you start creating those lists. What are those schools looking for? If you're a school that you really want to go to and you're a catcher and there's 5 catchers on the roster, then maybe you want to rethink that decision a little bit. Or, same thing could be going for pitchers. That you got some high quality arms coming in your same class. Is that something that you want to be dealing with and competing for playing time all the time? Those are all good things to look forward to and look at, because this is going to be a decision that impacts you on a daily basis. And beyond the scoreboard tip here for step 3, look at past recruiting classes of those schools. See what type of players they recruit. What type are they physically? What do they look like? What's their height? What's their weight in your position that you're going to be playing? If you're a shortstop and they want bigger, stronger shortstops and you're not that could be something that you want to be talking about the coaches when they do contact you. The same thing with catchers. They want a bigger, stronger, more of an offensive-based catcher, or are they okay with the shorter, stouter, defensive emphasis catcher? Like, all of those things are very important. Same thing with arms and pitching ability and all that kind of stuff. Figure out what they've recruited in the past. That could really help kind of determine what kind of questions you ask once those coaches do get in contact with you. Step 4. attend showcases, camps, and tournaments. And this is basically just to get yourself in front of people. How to get seen by coaches is by doing a lot of these things. Pick the right events. Showcases are huge these days. Obviously, many of them cost money to attend, and that's a bummer, but I do believe a lot of them are worth it. We got the PAC regional baseball events that take place in Western Washington that are amazing. You got Baseball Northwest all over the place in the Northwest, and they do a really good job of helping kids get recruited into college and have updated metrics. And then you got the Perfect Game showcases. All of those are really good places to start and really reputable organizations. It'll do you really good in preparing for what college baseball looks like. The good thing about showcases is that you get to see what your metrics look like compared to other people. How hard you throw, how hard you hit the baseball, how fast you are. All of those things are available on their websites to be able to see where do you fit in metrically. Now, that doesn't mean metrics are all what a baseball player is, but they are going to see where you stack up a little bit. I don't know if I agree that that's the only way that people get recruited. That's kind of how people are putting it on right now, but I think the way that you actually play the game is just as important, but they do help. Get your metrics out, get them out in front of everybody, let them be measurable and consistent. College coaches trust these sites and these showcases, so it will give you the ability to be able to send updated and verified metrics to coaches as you start sending your interest emails, as you start sending responses back to coaches that are reaching out to you. Making sure they're verified are very important, and these showcases will allow that to happen. We are now going to hear from our first guest, and I'm excited to hear more about kind of the PAC regional baseball. And we're going to hear from Kelly, and he's going to explain kind of what the PAC games are and what their organization does for kids and for players, and how that can benefit you in the recruiting process.
Hi everyone, this is Kelly Guy with PAC Northwest Regional Baseball. I want to thank Perry for giving me an opportunity to come on here, and we'll talk a little bit about what we do within our company and kind of what we're looking forward to this baseball season. Obviously things have just started with high school tryouts and practices and jamborees starting here this week. We're looking forward to get out and watching guys, following them online, whether that's stats, social media, or connections, talking with coaches, to kind of look how guys are doing, how they've progressed, how that off season has benefited them at a high level. We're starting to look forward to our summer events. The main one being the PAC Games, which will take place July 14th through 16th at Fort Morse Park in Centralia. We're identifying the top 26, 27, 28 grads to be able to play in a 3-day event against each other, competing at a really high level with a lot of the local schools, multiple Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA, junior colleges, all in attendance in that event, trying to identify players that'll benefit their program. The greatest part about that event is the fact that, you get to compete with the best guys in the area, right? And we vet this basically throughout the year, talking with all our connections as coaches, high school club coaches, and our staff to make sure that we're getting the best guys there that we possibly can. And a lot of it is reference based. We have a prospect intake form. We have forms for high school coaches. We reach out to high school coaches to try to make sure that we get the best possible players there, to showcase them for our local colleges, because that's important for us to make sure that our local talent is staying local at some of the best schools possible. It's a very difficult time in recruiting right now. There's a lot of unknowns, a lot of uncertainty, but the best thing that we can do as coaches, as players, is making sure that we're competing at the highest level possible and putting ourselves in front of a lot of people that have the ability to give us opportunities at that next level. It's a years long process. There's guys that we bring up throughout our time working. The Northwest Elite group that we're also a part of takes teams on travel trips, starting at the 11U age, all the way up till 18-year-old, to different various trips throughout the year. So we start to forge those relationships at a younger age, and bring guys up through the process and help develop them to be the best possible players that they can be. All knowing that at some point in time, this this game's going to end for all of us. And I think the important thing is to make sure that we get the best out of what we can as individuals, as players, and coaches, making sure that we're giving back to our local guys to give them a chance to reach their highest potential. In the fall, we run our fall scout teams, which compete against the junior colleges, the local junior colleges, on doubleheaders on the weekend. Again, try to get kids from Washington, Oregon, Idaho, throughout the state to play against the NWAC schools, compete on a weekend basis, have some recruiting opportunities, challenge to push guys to play at the highest level that they can at that point in time, and kind of see where they stand. And I had a chance to be a part of that experience last fall, and there was a lot of growth from guys, a lot of opportunities granted because they had opportunities to play on those college campuses, and looking forward to being a part of that again. Then our Scout League is for the this year it'll be the 27 and 28 class, where we bring guys to different venues in areas that are near different colleges, Division I, Division II, all the way down, and allow them to have a couple weekend series playing against the best guys, and continue to develop their skills in that fall setting. It's an exciting time for them to kind of put a cap on their year, compete against the highest guys that they possibly can, and get a feel for what their off season should look like and the things that they can get better at after playing in fall ball to look forward to their upperclassmen years. Apart from that, the best thing that I can say is that all of us within our organization are wanting to help grow this game as best we possibly can in the area. We understand the importance of development, the importance of learning what it takes to be a collegiate player, and making sure that we're leading those guys in the right direction throughout their time. I would encourage anyone that has questions or wants help in that recruiting process or the development process to reach out at any point in time, ask any questions that you might have. Feel free to send us references of players as best you can to make sure that we do not miss any possible guy throughout our Pacific Northwest region. Shout out to all the coaches grinding right now and in their seasons. We're excited to be out there and put together the best possible events that we can this summer to make sure that you guys get the players that you want to be successful. Thanks again. Again, feel free to reach out anytime, and have a great season, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly. The Pack games sound great and incredible, and keep doing what you're doing for all of these potential recruits and baseball players in the Northwest. The next part of step 4 would be tournaments. Play in high-level tournaments and play them as often as possible. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the only way you can get seen, but college coaches and recruiters do want to see you up against the best competition often. It kind of takes some of the guesswork out of it. That doesn't necessarily mean that smaller community kids from small schools, all that kind of stuff can't get recruited. No, not at all. But the summertime is a great time to go and get involved in some of those bigger, more competitive environments. And I really do that can do not only benefit you as a player and your development, but also to help you develop a recruiting process that would benefit you more than, let's say, somebody that didn't do those and kind of stay in their local community all the time and only played kind of some smaller level summer baseball. Get out, get involved, challenge yourself, show college coaches that you're willing to play the best competition in your grade, and see how that goes for you. The good thing about that is if you do struggle, there's some weaknesses in your game. You have the opportunity to fix those in the off season and go back and try it again. Get in front of those really high level tournaments. See how you do. Get in front of competition that might make you uncomfortable a little bit. And then get on college campuses. As you start getting a little older, get to the colleges. Let the college coaches that are at that university or college see with their own eyes. See what you look like, what your physicality is. See how you walk. See how you hold yourself. See how you compete in a kind of stressful situation. Some of those college showcases and college camps and invite camps and eval camps can be stressful and intimidating, and they want to see how you handle yourself in those environments. But it does start that relationship building process. And It's really hard to kind of go to a school if they don't ever get you on campus. So go to those as often as possible if it's a place that you feel like you could enjoy. And another thing about those is it gives you a chance to get on campus, see what the campus looks like, see how it feels, see how the baseball amenities are. What do the facilities look like? How do they compare to some other ones that you've been to? Those are all really good things to do when you're trying to figure out a college that's up to your standards and to your liking. Another Beyond the Scoreboard tip: make sure your metrics are updated each year. Coaches look at them and they really enjoy the verified websites that we talked about before. Nothing worse would be you being involved in the recruiting process and then having them have somebody say that you're a pitcher, left-handed pitcher, throws 92, but the last metric that they have that's verified by anybody is, when you're throwing 84. Those are something that you don't want to have to explain. So get those updated every year. Doesn't take very much effort. It's just a one-day process. You can usually get those verified quite quickly. And step 5, communicate with coaches and build relationships. Get on the coach's radar. And a lot of that is going to be with you doing it yourself. You kind of start in the communication process. Email the coaches. Keep it short when you do so. Include your name, your graduation year, your position, some key stats, and then post your highlight video. Mention you're interested in the program and then mention why. Explain what interests you and how that could really benefit you as an individual and as an academia. And obviously baseball needs to be included in that. But 3 to 5 sentences to many coaches and make it personal is very important. Gets that ball rolling. Talk to players who went through it and are going through it now. Your friends, players that you're playing with that might be getting recruited. What is their situation like? What does it look like for you? Are they comparable? How are they different? Maybe there's some things and some valuable information that they can hand down to you on some visits that they went to and they either really enjoyed or maybe didn't enjoy so much. Talking with the players can be a really valuable tool. And our next guest is going to be just that. His name is Cody Yells. He's a Soton High School graduate he is a high school player and will be in the 26 graduating class. He's currently in the middle of his recruiting process, and he's going to give us a little update on how it's going for him. And I think this is great for everybody to listen to because he's right in the middle of it. Going to be getting his junior baseball season here, which is really when a lot of the interest starts coming along. And it's a really interesting take on how a 18-year-old kid is dealing with some of the pressures of being recruited and what it's like for them.
First off, huge thanks to Perry for me this opportunity to be on his podcast and talk about my recruiting journey and how it's went so far. It has not been an easy one, I'd say that. I started getting my first college interest from college programs after this past summer after a tournament in Vancouver. It was actually the Baseball Northwest. Huge shout out to them. They do an amazing job with that tournament and that event. Is the Baseball Northwest Championships in Vancouver. That got my name out there a ridiculous amount, and I think that was probably what really excelled my recruiting. I got contacted by 3 colleges there. I got contacted by Whitworth. I got invited up there for a camp, went up there. Whitworth's amazing. WSU, I got invited to a camp. I love WSU, always have been a Coug. And then I also got invited to UW. Huge thank you to UW and their coaching staff for inviting me out there. That is pretty much how my process began. And hopefully it gets jumped like another kick after I got invited to another event in Centralia, Washington called the Pac Games. Huge thank you to them for the invite out there. And some of my biggest challenges I think I faced during recruiting, I think it's really knowing who is telling you the truth and who is not. There's been a lot of times that I've seen players go somewhere that they were promised one thing and they thought it was all going to be all sunshine and rainbows here and it was going to get ran one way and then it was just completely ran the other way. So I think finding a coach that you fit with that is actually telling you the truth from the start and not going to sugarcoat stuff and just say it's all sunshine and rainbows. I think that's one big thing for me is just like the coaches being very transparent about how their program is ran and how they handle stuff. Travel and summer teams. I think that travel baseball and summer teams are one of the most important things that was for me. I think my biggest growth has always just been in summer. Your body feels great. Your mood is great. I think that's where that I've made the most strides and the most excels in my game. Showcases, like prospect camps, yeah, they're good. They're good at getting your name in it, but after you go to a camp once, like maybe go to it once or twice, but if you go more than once or twice, I honestly think it's a waste of time. Because unless you're going to a developmental camp, college developmental camp, then at the prospect camps, you're really not getting much one-on-one like development. So your game's really not getting excelled as much as it should be. So I feel that summer, like just playing tournaments and playing baseball is going to be the best way to get better at baseball. And I feel that exposure is going to come with playing more and getting better. Because if you're a standout at a camp, yeah, your name's going to get on their list really high. So if you're going to go to the camps, make sure you're well equipped and ready to go and ready to stand out at that camp. And I think that's been one big focus for me this off season has been just getting better at baseball. Weight room for me has been a really, really big key this off season. I've been really trying to gain weight and get bigger, stronger, faster, like they always say. And if you stand out size-wise and then you stand out with your athletics and just show out, I think that is going to excel you on their list and get you raised up higher on their list. I think that would be my biggest piece to advice for younger kids is just to get bigger, stronger. And if you're going to go to these showcases, be ready and show out in front of the coaches. I think that the main factors when choosing a college program to attend, I think it's got to be a place that you fit and a place you feel home. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the place you're going to spend, or I'm speaking as a player, it's this place that a player is going to spend the next 2 to 4 years of their life. And if it's a place you don't feel home, like you're never going to feel like perfect, like you're at home, like you're at your actual home, but you got to have a place that you feel welcome and you feel like brought in. You can't feel like a place where you're going to feel that like an outcast or you're never going to thrive and you're never going to excel. So I feel that a place that you feel home and just comfortable in, once you find that place, you will know from immediately. A couple of the places I've went to, I've really liked, and it's going to be tough for me to end up making a decision of where I attend come that time. I've currently not made any decisions. I'm completely uncommitted, and the final piece of advice that I'd like to give to younger players is just take your time. I've seen way too many people rush into a commitment or rush into like verbally committing somewhere, and then they end up getting there and it's just not what they would have expected. I feel if you take your time and see as many colleges and as many places as you can, I think you're going to be the best equipped to make the correct decision for you and for your future. And at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, is how your future is going to play out. All right, Perry, I think that's all I got for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. We really appreciate your insight and kind of giving us a little bit of a look into how your recruiting process is going. And I know this is a valuable tool for anybody that's listening to this on we want to hear from coaches. We want to hear from showcase owners. We want to hear from recruiters. And we also want to hear from players. And thanks for giving us the player kind of impact and position on what that looks like and what that kind of is and what other players can look forward to and what is really important to you and what is important to them could be similar. So thanks for giving your insight, and we appreciate you letting us kind of understand how the recruiting process has gone for you. Next up in step 5 is the follow-up strategy. So after you've contacted coaches, after you had some dialogue, after you've gone to showcases, after you've gone to tournaments, follow up with the coaches that have been there, that are there to watch you, that maybe you saw there, didn't have direct dialogue with. Email them. Short, sweet, get to the point. Thank you for coming and watching me at such and such event. I look forward to hearing from you again. I would like to sit down and talk to you and get some feedback on what you saw, what you liked, what you didn't like. Just very simple emails, but let them know that you're interested and that you appreciate them following along in your recruiting journey. Another beyond the scoreboard tip: coaches get tons of emails, tons of calls, tons of text messages. Be direct, personal, and professional when you do send these. Step 6, academics and NCAA eligibility. This gets overlooked a little bit. We are student athletes. I am a high school teacher. I am a high school coach. I deal with academics just as much as athletics, and it should be that way. And your recruiting process will be very similar. You will need to explain show that you can be a good student. How to stay eligible for college baseball. Maintain a strong GPA. Many schools require 3.0 or above. That shouldn't be difficult for you if you're serious about playing at the next level. Drive is just as important and can be shown in many different ways. There's a lack of drive, and then there's an overdrive. Which one are you? Are you going to be an overdrive? Are you going to be busting your tail trying to get decent grades, trying to get good SAT, ACT scores? Or are you going to be the person that does the opposite, that just kind of puts it on cruise control? That just goes, 2.7 is fine for me. C's good degrees. Coaches don't like to see that. They want to see work ethic. They want to see drive. They want you in overdrive. Work hard. Show your SAT scores and ACTs, and if they're not good enough, retake them. Show that you're willing to do that. And then register with the NCAA Eligibility Center by your junior year. Make sure that you have an understanding of what it takes to be eligible. Because the last thing you want to do is be a Division I talent that can't get into a Division I school. That is not a fun situation to be in, and I've seen it happen. Understand NCAA academic requirements. What are the core classes that is demanded of you? What GPA test scores? What's the sliding scale? All that kind of stuff is really good information, and you can find it quickly. Most any school will let you know where to find that information on their websites. But understanding it is going to be very important because, like I said, you do not want to be able to play baseball there but not be able to get into the school. Terrible feeling. And a pro tip on this one, academics can be a deal breaker. Usually they're not going to be something that the school recruits you solely for, but it can be a reason that they don't recruit you. Make that not possible for them. Many recruits will lose offers because of poor grades, even if you've already had one. Make sure that that's very important. You can get an offer, struggle in the classroom, that offer is no more. And the last step that we're going to talk about here on episode 7 is making a decision and then committing. How to know when and where to commit. What does that look like? Does that need to be my sophomore year? Am I going to verbally commit then? Is that going to be my senior year, late in the year? What does that look like? And every situation is different. But like we talked about at the very beginning, please take your time. There's no reason to be in a hurry in this situation. If you're good, coaches will wait. But what we don't want to have happen is have you be somebody that commits and decommits and commits and decommits. Make sure you make a decision that's right for you. Have your family involved in that decision. Have your friends involved in that decision. Have people, authority figures that you trust in that decision. And go and see. Visit the places. Do all this stuff. Do your due diligence before even having any sort of commitment. Because baseball is going to be part of your life when you get to college. But you're going to be going to school every day. You're going to be there for 2 to 5 years. So understand that it's an important commitment in your life. And you don't need to rush into it. Compare your offers. One school giving me a pretty decent scholarship and the other one's giving me a walk-on opportunity. What's the playing time situation? Is there a starting opportunity? Am I going to be more of a role player or bench player? Am I coming out of the bullpen as a pitcher? Am I projected to be a starter? What does all of that look like? What are they saying? Really ask the questions when you start talking with these coaches on where they see you fit into their program. And then academic-wise, is going to that school going to be too rigorous for me to be able to do both? What kind of programs do they offer? Is there a program there that I can see myself doing once baseball is over and I'm getting into my professional life? If the answers to those are yes, then you're probably on the right way to getting the commitment and committing to that school once an offer is given. If the answer to those are no, don't do it just for the baseball. The name on the school is one thing, but going to a place that you're going to enjoy and that is right for your situation is more important than the name of the school. And keep working after committing. Once you have committed, it doesn't end it. That's not the end of the road. College baseball is competitive and nothing is guaranteed. Somebody can decommit and commit to the school in today's day and age, especially with transfer portal situations coming all over every level now. Please make sure that you continue to work your tails off once commitment happens. The higher levels of college now, high school freshmen, are beginning to be kind of a little bit lower on the totem pole when it comes to the recruiting process. The transfer portal is a huge thing, and NIL is really important to many of those bigger schools. So just because you have some interest from them doesn't mean that interest can end real quickly. So continue to work, keep options open. But if nothing else, understand that the commitment is the first step, not the last step. Make sure that you can prove to the coach that they made the right decision on you. And beyond the scoreboard tip, don't commit just for the school name like we talked about. Go where you'll play and develop and succeed academically. Those are the 3 or 4 things that you need to really concentrate when it comes to making your decision and committing. Don't commit because it says so-and-so on the front of that shirt. of the coaches we're in. Make sure you understand what it's going to look like to go to that school. That's one of the reasons that so many people end up leaving colleges, because they pick it for the wrong reasons, pick it for the right reasons. And fans, that is the Beyond the Scoreboard 7-step to the baseball recruiting process. Understand that everyone has a different process in this, and it's very individualized. However, having an idea of going into the process will help you. Thanks again to our 2 guests today. We really appreciate your insight in helping us along in this journey. There's so much misinformation. There's so much stressors involved with baseball and recruiting, not to mention how the college landscape has changed the last 3 or 4 years with NIL and with transfer portal opening up. There's so many unknowns now. We just want to be able to give students somewhere to be able to look into and find some real information for some real people that are going through it right now. And both of our guests today have shared their insight greatly with some different ways. And us here on Beyond the Scoreboard want to continue to give you real life feedback on what happens in the coaching realm, what happens to players when they're getting recruited. We're here to try to give you some real information and some information that is truthful and that we can really stand by. And until next time, I appreciate everybody tuning in and going beyond the scoreboard with us once again. And I can't wait to do it on episode 8. But until then, keep competing, everybody.
That's a wrap for this episode of Beyond the Scoreboard. A big thank you to our guests today for sharing their insights, stories, and wisdom from the world of coaching. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you get your podcasts. It helps us reach more listeners like you who are passionate about the game and the people who make it happen. Follow us on all the socials for updates and behind-the-scenes content. And as always, join us next time as we continue to go beyond the stats, beyond the sidelines, beyond the scoreboard.